It becoming enlightened together. Since I failed to post over the last couple of days, like I said, I have a lot of other responsibilities, and sometimes, even if I've actually done the reading, I don't post immediately. It takes time to do all of these things, and sometimes I simply just don't have enough time in the day. Okay, so enough excuses. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of readings to make up for the days that I've missed out and so on. And don't get hung up on the fact that it was for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever the case may be. It's for whenever it is that you're viewing it. There's something there for you. Now, that doesn't mean, of course, that everything that I talk about is going to be for you specifically. Since it's a general reading, it talks about the energy that is out there based upon my intuition, based upon my earlier prayers and my meditations about, blessing, of course, the collective that's out there. And that means cross watchers as well. If you're a cross watcher and you wouldn't necessarily be classified or even classify yourself as being the collective, then there's probably something in here for you as well that could edify you, or maybe something that you would use to the contrary. That's really your decision to make. Anyway, so start off with the overall energy for the week was that of Ewas, and Ewas talks about moving in a harmonious fashion together, with trust and loyalty, teamwork and things of that nature. And again, using the analogy of a horse and a rider, they have to be working together, or it's a very, very difficult ride indeed. Same thing with horses pulling a carriage. If they're out of stride and all of that, that ride can be extremely difficult, uncomfortable. And it's no different for moving forward in terms of a automobile and the driver. If the driver doesn't know how to drive, then it could be a very bumpy road. Ride. And if the vehicle itself is not functioning properly, then equally so. And perhaps either way could lead into an accident, which is not going to help us to get from point A to point B. So that's kind of the energy that we're referring to in terms of harmony and moving forward. Harmony. Sometimes I don't know. I surprise myself. Anyways, so trust, loyalty, working together as a team, teamwork. It also ties together in terms of our relationships. So, a perfect partnership or relationship, marriage. It talks about moving and progressing for the better, forward momentum, progress. Okay. It talks about gradual development and also a confirmation beyond doubt of all the other runes around it. So that's what Ewas refers to. Now, as far as our present energy, what we have here is the god Tyre showing up, and he, as all the other runes that I have in this particular spread, are all in the upright. So it's a very positive spread. In fact, I'm going to title this particular reading as From Rags to Riches. Because that's really what it's intimating here. It's talking about that you probably had a long journey, you've gone through a lot, you may have lost, if not everything, very close to everything that you had materialistically, maybe even a part of your heart. And it's basically intimating that you're going to be getting tenfold of those things that you had lost previously. So hang in there, collective, do not give up. And I understand how hard that is at times. I do. So I'm trying to encourage you, and that's why I do this. I'm not making a dime doing this. I'm giving my own time and efforts and everything else to try to be consistent and put these out there so I can help or benefit, even if it's only one soul out there. I hardly have anybody that comes in here and lets me know that they viewed this or give me a thumbs up or whatever, and I don't care about that. I really don't. So this is not for me per se. Yes, I'm getting the training necessary. I'm building the discipline, which is absolutely essential in terms of leadership. And that's what also the god Tyre is all about. The god Tyre is all about leadership. All 11 principles, all 14 leadership traits that we find in any military, chapter based on leadership, you're going to find the attributes, traits, and characteristics of the god Tyre there. He stands upon principle, not magic, to get the job done, and he gets it done. The gods revere him, because he's no nonsense. He takes care of business. He's honest. He's just. You can count on him no matter what he says. I mean, no matter what the situation is, what he says, he's going to do. Okay? And that's the way we should all be too. Yes, words are powerful, and a lot of people use words in a manipulative fashion. God Tyre teaches us otherwise because, words are magic. That's why they call it spelling, for example. The intent behind your words does matter. So when you're talking about magic, if you're saying one thing simply to, deceive somebody, but intentionally you have this completely opposite notion that you're feeling, wanting, or desiring, unbeknownst to the person you're referring to or talking to, then you're going to get that negative energy back in terms of karma. Sometimes it'll happen almost immediately. Other times it may take quite a while, but you will get there. Trust me, you cannot hide or run from karma. So that is Tiwaz. It also talks about victory and success, and that means in any competition, including legal matters. So if somebody out there is going through or has pending some type of a legal battle, you are going to be victorious. God, I can't speak once I get this camera going. So just keep that in mind. Summon the energy of Tiwaz, God Tyre's room, and you will, without a doubt, be victorious in this pursuit. Okay. Or if you're going out there, you're into some type of other competition, wrestling, mixed martial arts, gymnastics, whatever the case may be. Again, you call upon that energy to be successful in that endeavor. Okay. Now, as far as our obstacles and challenges, we have the wishing rune, which is Wunyo in the upright. All the runes in this reading are in the upright. Very positive reading. So it talks about wind, and wind is always in reference to the intellect and so on. The swords cards, if you will, in tarot. But it also talks about harmony, joy, blessings. Very similar to the overall energy of the week, right? Working together in harmonious fashion, teamwork, that kind of thing. But it also talks about how that leads to affection, desire, pleasure, ecstasy, fellowship. It talks about glory and spiritual rewards. It talks about the possibility also going over the top. Okay, so again, we don't want to lower our guard at this point. So success, yet again, recognition of one's own worth. And there's nothing conceited or, negative in terms of recognizing that, hey, we are all the divine spark. We have that divine spark within us. So there is something greater than, those things that we see of the world that are always given high acclaim. And those are things that are usually associated with something outside, in other words, the wrapping of something. But keep this in mind. You can have, let's just say, dog shit or whatever, and you can put it in the most ornament of wrappings and so on. It looks beautiful on the outside, but when you open it up, what do you have? Right? Or you can have a diamond and put it in nothing but blank paper and wrap that paper around a box or whatever. It doesn't look very amazing on the outside, but when you open it up, what does it have? That shiny, highly valuable diamond. And oftentimes that is very, very true of each and every one of us as well. So don't judge a book by its cover. Okay? That's not to say that there's anything wrong with being, I guess you say attracted from something that looks nice. But before you give too much of your energy into that endeavor, find out what's on the inside. And that is, the only advice that I can give, that I can say without even the slightest bit of apprehension, is so overlooked and so valuable in today's world, where everybody is just trying to score, or whatever the case may be. Remember, you're creating soul ties to those people that you are having those encounters with, and that means they're negative stuff you don't even know about because you didn't take the time to find out. All you cared about is your own self-gratification, and you're going to pay the price for that in some fashion or form, whether it's the manifestation of some type of a venereal disease, let's say, and some of them are not curable today. Or it could be just because of the soul ties that you have, the connection with these people on such a negative energy level that they actually are able to drain your energy even when you're not physically together. So again, you've got to be very careful about who you share your energy with. Okay, it's vitally important. Alright, so that's why recognizing one's self-worth and everything else helps to keep you above, giving into the, I guess you can say, the energy of the world, where they're constantly telling you that this is what makes you something more or whatever, because you're doing this, you can do that, you have X number of freaking conquests under your belt, or carved into your lipstick case or your bedboard, or whatever the case may be. That's what the world wants you to believe. But remember, we may be living in the world, but we are not of the world. Many of you out there, me included, are starseeds. So we come from a much different place, and we're here to make a difference. So don't forget that too, okay? And again, that does not mean you're not here to be able to enjoy the things that the world does have, but you have to do it in moderation, and you have to do it with a great deal of wisdom, okay? And this is the case for some of you, and this is why we hear about like fallen angels, for example, those who once had known or had been gifted with many of these types of abilities and everything else that many of you and I also share, and they've used them for their own self-gratification instead of for the edification of the collective. Now, they are fallen angels, so to speak. They have fallen, and they have become just empty vessels that have been taken over by the energies that they have surrendered to, so to speak, whether it's lust or drug abuse or whatever the case may be. Okay, that's why addictions are more dangerous than meets the eye in many cases. Alright, so Yara again is about the harvest and bringing things forward from your earlier efforts. This is our help and advice, so keep that in mind. Whatever you reap, you will sow. And there's cycles in this world, okay? You have, of course, the menstrual cycles that women have, and sometimes when two women come together, they end up cycling at the same time, okay? And there's cycles of the moon, cycles of the earth, cycles of the sun. We have the seasons, 4 seasons and everything else. Those are cycles. And each and every one of us has cycles. We have our good and our bad days, so to speak. Okay. So that's what Yara talks about. It talks about everything will change in its own time. So we can't often force these things. But it also tells us about, again, rewards, harvest, like I said before. That's what it means. It talks about peace and legality. So again, we're seeing that particular concept of having some type of a legal dispute. You will be victorious in that. It talks about breakthroughs and stagnation as well. So if you've been spinning your wheels, haven't made any forward momentum, and we all have those times. I certainly have. But this talks about a breakthrough in that stagnation. So it's good to go. Now the future outcome is that of Manus. Manus in the upright. And Manus talks about mankind, humanity. It talks about altruism. It talks about, thought and creativity. Again, working together with other people. Sometimes they're positive, sometimes they seem quite the opposite of that. But they're how you respond to them and how they respond to you. That's what this energy is all about. So it talks about friends, enemies. It talks about social order. It talks about intelligence as well as one's skills and abilities. It talks about understanding of the divine nature of things, awareness, intuition. It talks about you if you are in need of some type of assistance or help at this time, it's coming. And this is just to remind you that indeed, whatever help and cooperation you're looking for is on its way. Okay, so hang in there. So that's where I'm going to end this. I'm going to try to keep all of these short. And remember, from rags to riches. If you have very little, you're about to be showered with a lot. So hang in there and remember where it came from and all your hard work to get there. Don't forget yourself just because you're being showered with worldly and materialistic goods. Make sure that you keep that flowing. Give back to the community or to the world in general. In other words, put that energy out there. That is also a very, not only a biblical concept, but it's also a concept in terms of the Nordic belief systems. You got to keep that money flowing and everything else, especially if you expect it to increase. So we need money to make money, so to speak. And I know there are most of you out there, you might not just be focusing on material gain and what to do about and to make money. It's never been my goal. My goal is always to make my life worth something, mean something before I go. Kind of like a legacy kind of a thing. Which, since I have 4 kids, money does play a part in it as much as I fight that. I kind of thinking. So I'm trying to change my way of thinking a little bit more so that I can also be successful financially. I've been able to take care of them on my own and everything else. I've raised them basically on my own while battling constant opposition, from my ex-partner who was also involved in many of the things that I have brought up here before in terms of, the people who you've held closest to you have done the absolute most against you behind your back. So we rise up against that. We don't take matters into our own hands. I didn't get revenge. I could have. I've thought about it, but I didn't do it. It would have hurt more than just her and I. It would have hurt my children as well. So as angry as I had become, and I'm sure that many of you who are going through similar circumstances also feel, surrender it. Surrender it to the Most High. Surrender to your higher self, to your ancestors, to God. Okay? And you will be pleasantly surprised, shocked, in fact, at what will come of that. It may take some time, but it will happen for you. Okay? Now, with that being said, remain victorious out there, and I'll see you guys hopefully at some point, even if I don't meet you face to face in this lifetime, in Valhalla. Okay? Take care. God bless.